celebrate us. Like, you know, we're warriors. We're not victims.
Fair enough.
There you go. Now that's the tagline. Warriors, not victims. Like, went to team bonding day, which is obviously you're meant to be bonding with your team, having a great time.
Yeah.
And there was 2 activities. One was canoeing, which I can't do because I don't really have a lot of strength in like my midriff to like sit up in a canoe.
Okay.
And then the other one was archery, which I can't do either because I wouldn't be able to balance that long and get the arch up. So they just gave me a bottle of wine and put me in the corner. We didn't want to make you feel different, but I'm like, you've made me feel the most different I've ever felt.
Yeah. How easy is it to date as a man who has a disability? Welcome to my podcast, The Laura Dowling Experience. Many of you will know me from my Instagram page @FabulousPharmacist, where I love to shine a light on topics that people normally shy away from. Today I spoke with Paddy Smyth. Paddy is a disabled rights activist, a reality TV star, a TV presenter, and an all-round babe. We discussed his life as a proud disabled gay man. We discussed how winning reality TV shows has its advantages and its disadvantages. We chatted about how therapy has made him love himself and how we can all do more to make disabled or differently abled people more visible in society. To support the Laura Dowling Experience, please check out my sponsors in the podcast notes below. Enjoy the show. Paddy Smyth, it's a pleasure.
Is it?
Well, it remains to be seen. We'll decide whether or not we'll put it up or not. Once we've finished. How are you?
I am good. I'm slightly hungover because it's Easter and I was at a wedding. And you know, had a few drinks. A few too many and danced the dance floor. So
I was wondering whether you'd turn up because when you told me I'm actually at a wedding today, I messaged Paddy yesterday and said, Paddy, did you get my text? You know, are you still on for tomorrow? Yeah. It being Easter Sunday yesterday, and you were like, oh yeah, I'm just at a wedding. And I was like, oh, high chance of cancellation. But you didn't.
No,
you made it here in one piece.
Absolutely. I couldn't do that to you. Couldn't.
You're sound. So the reason why I asked you on is because you're quite a colourful character. No pun intended. You do have purple hair. You're wearing a bright yellow or no mustard type over sweater and trousers. So and also you are quite the disability activist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't set out to be an activist. I just started living my life online and I kind of fell into the activism world. And I'm so privileged that I can do that.
Yeah.
But it was never I was just living my life and having a great time. And then suddenly people were thinking I'm an activist because I'm walking around in crutches and dancing in clubs.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean? But now I realise that that's a privilege of mine, that I can, like, my platform can help disabled kids coming after me to know that they can live a life and live it great and live authentically and be themselves. And, like, you know, disability doesn't define you, but it can be a part of you. And if you own it, that can be amazing.
Absolutely. So can we start at the start then?
Yes.
So when
I feel like this is your life.
I know, but you know what? I feel I need to get the essence off you out there because, you know, I know you're a bit mad.
Am I?
You are a bit mad.
Is that my energy?
You just have this mad energy, you do, which is probably why I was attracted to you, because I'm kind of attracted to mad people. But so can we start from the start? You were born. Okay, I was conceived. My mum and dad had sex, and then I was born.
I was born, yeah. So my mum had cancer of the womb while she was pregnant with me.
Did she know this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then she had to decide whether to keep me and probably pass away from the cancer, or get rid of me and get rid of the cancer and hopefully survive. And she decided to keep me and then passed away 5 years later. So that's a really hard thing for me to live with. One, because, like, it's so selfless and, like, I want my life to mean something.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because of that.
Yeah.
And yes, then she passed away when I was 5 from cancer. And then I have a dad who was very old school. Like, he's born in the 1930s. He had me in his 50s. Like, he was little Hugh Hefner going about. But, like, you know, he had a very different way of life. Like, he was a very man's man, masculine. And I was coming in flouncing about, you know, fake tan, like dancing to Kylie Minogue, like just everything that he couldn't understand, and he obviously didn't understand disability. It was very hard for him.
Okay.
You know, but he didn't have an idea of what my life would be like. He thought I would need like constant care the whole time, do you know?
Okay.
And then coming out as gay then as well was on top of that. I'm just like tick, tick, tick to all these boxes.
You literally are, aren't you?
Do you know what I mean?
Show me attention. So you were born with cerebral palsy, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And how did that affect you as a child then?
How did it affect me? I suppose I never really cared about my disability, but everyone else did. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, when I was a kid and all, I was always quite confident in it, like, and loved to be the centre of attention. Do you know what I mean?
There's a surprise.
There's a surprise. Like, when I was 5, like, I couldn't read at the time because I went to like a special needs school, and the way they taught people, it was more about fixing your condition rather than actually teaching you.
And did you go to a special needs school because you had a physical disability?
Yeah.
But you don't have any cognitive
No,
impairment.
I know, but at the time they didn't really know.
Okay.
You know, like this is back in the early 90s. No one really kind of understood. People were still kind of like trying to get through that realm of disability. What does it mean? You know, what? So then when I was 6, I went to a mainstream school. So my dad put me in that, and I think that's one of the best things he's ever done for me, because it really taught me social skills and how to interact, you know. Anyway, so we went on a holiday. This is a funny story. We went on a holiday, and this is just to show you how attention seeking I am. We went on a holiday when I was 5, and I was like, I couldn't read at the time. I got my dad to teach me Molly Malone, the song, because I couldn't wait to go up and do karaoke. That's all I wanted to do when I went away, because I thought when you went away, everyone does karaoke.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to be a star, so I need to show people that I'm a star. And I was like, Dad, can I go to the toilet or on the plane? I was like, I'd like to go on my own, please, because I'm a big boy. And he's like, okay. I then proceed to go to an air hostess and convince her to let me sing over the intercom, Molly Malone. And I get her to introduce me. She's like, there's a little boy here who'd like to sing a song. And I'm like, in a Dublin's fair city, in a suit with like jam jars on my face and a bowler haircut. My dad was like, it was funny, mate.
Oh my goodness. So from the get-go, you wanted to be a star?
I wanted to be a star, yeah. Apparently when I was younger, he was like, what do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be famous. And he was like, how are you going to be famous? Like, I don't know. I was like, but I'll get it.
I'll use my disability.
I know, that sounds really vapid of me. But
look, do you know what? I think that you got to do what you need to do. And it's not, you've loads to say, it's not just about your disability. But obviously it's great to see people that look and walk differently and are different in the public eye. And I think that's what you are bringing to it, aren't you?
I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, there was never any representation that I could see on screen for me. Do you know what I mean? And everything around disability was more like you felt sorry for them.
Yeah.
You felt like, oh my God, poor them. You know, and I didn't want that. I want to change that narrative and like celebrate us. Like, you know, we're warriors. We're not victims.
Yeah, fair enough.
There you go. That's the tagline. Warriors, not victims.
I suspect that we're going to come out with a few taglines. What was the other one you said before we come in here?
We're invisible in the rainbow.
Oh yeah, invisible in the rainbow. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more
I'm going to trademark that.
So as well as being disabled, you're also a proud gay man.
I am.
So
up the gays.
Up the gays. So you come out at what age?
Well, when I came out of the womb, I was 8. But when I actually came out, like I was about 17, 16. So that was probably my toughest time of life in secondary school. I went to an all-boys school. I got bullied quite a bit in school.
Why?
Just because I was different, I suppose. And
did anyone suspect you were gay?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Like, I definitely didn't hide from that. I mean, I had hair out here, you know, fake tan, like wearing a scarf.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that wearing a scarf is gay, but I definitely had a flamboyancy about me.
Right.
And it was a really tough time because people were just, especially lad culture in schools, like people just want to blend in, and you know, it's very like wolf pack. Like once one person is slagging you, another person was like you, and you know they don't like anything different. You know,
And was that tough on your mental health?
really
at all?
tough.
Okay.
Yeah, and like my dad, my dad wanted me to go to an all boys school to tough me up because he thought like being gay was a phase. Do you get me?
Okay. Did you tell him you were gay?
Yeah.
Or like from a very young age?
No, I came in drunk one time after a Christmas party.
Okay.
And apparently at the time they were talking about whether or not I would be gay. They were having a party at home and I come in and I'm like, Happy New Year! And they're like, hey, I think we've answered the question.
Okay.
And I think I must have said it in like a drunken haze. And the next day I woke up and you know when you walk into a room and I'm like, oh, everyone's talking about me. I could feel it. Like the energy was like, it just like silence. Like you could cut attention in life. So we didn't really speak about, like I knew he knew and he knew I knew, but we didn't really speak about it till about a year.
Okay.
One amazing thing I'd like to say that, because, you know, I don't want to paint, my dad was an amazing guy and he loved me to pieces. We just had he just grew up in a different time.
Yeah.
And he definitely, like he voted yes for gay marriage, you know, so like he came around and, you know, he definitely maybe didn't fully understand me, but wanted to celebrate me in his own way.
Of course. And it is, I think it's very easy for us to point the finger at people that may think differently to us, but we have to remember, like you said, they're brought up in a different time. They worry about their children. And I think even myself, as a mum of 3 boys, I'd have no issue with them being gay at all. But my only concern is that their life would be a little bit more difficult. And I think that as a parent, you'd be worried about, because you were just saying you were teased in school. Yeah. It's just you're boxed into something that's, again, a little bit different, isn't it? I do think we're getting better. Yeah. You know, and I do think this generation are definitely more fluid and open to expression than past generations. Yeah. But, like, I do think that sometimes being gay and disabled, they become my 2 personality traits. Like, it's everything that I am. Paddy's the gay disabled friend. Like, when I get introduced, people are like, oh, that's Paddy, he's gay and disabled. But I wouldn't be like, oh, there's Laura, she's straight. Yeah, I know. And she loves cookies. It is funny, not funny, but it is interesting how people define gay people by their sexuality, but straight people or heterosexual people is not even considered to be an issue. No, it's not even a thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's true equality, isn't it? When it's not even... Because my sexuality is a part of me and I'm celebrated, but it's not all of me. No. And my disability is a part of me and I also celebrate that. But there's a lot more nuances, I hope, to me as a person. Yeah. How easy is it to date as a man who has a disability? I think it's really, really hard. Okay. I think that people are fearful of disability. You know, they find it like it's too much work. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna have to help them, or you know, they find it difficult to be desired, to desire someone disabled, because that's how the media portrayals as like we need. Think about the show like The Undateables. That's even the premise of that. Oh God, yeah, it's not a nice. I don't actually like the name of that. Do you know what I mean? So I think that I've always struggled, and this is probably one of my biggest insecurities, about finding myself attractive and being disabled. You know, I've masked that with humour, and maybe that's why, like, I dye my hair purple and all, in a sense. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of like an armour of mine. Do you know what I mean? Because I've always struggled with my body image and my body and my looks in general. Yeah. And like, not because it's only taken me like probably like the last year to fully accept that I am disabled. Like I think a lot of it, I knew I was disabled, but I kind of blocked it out. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Because I was able to walk around and do things that most kids could do anyway. So my limitations weren't limited in terms of like, if I needed to walk up the stairs, I could get up the stairs. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Albeit you need crutches to walk. Albeit I need crutches to walk. But I think I kind of blocked out my disability for a long time. Okay. And I didn't fully accept this was me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think until I fully accepted, I was never going to love myself, because I was not loving a part of myself. Yeah, of course. And I think that's my biggest realisation as I get older, and we're all doing like more development work and growth. And I was always like,
looking for validation outside of everything. Like, I never really validated myself. Everything I did was to try get validation off others that I could be accepted into this world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That sounds like as if it's very tiring as well.
yeah, it was. It was massively tiring, and it's that self-saboteur is still in the back of my head. Do you know what I mean? I still have to watch myself.
Okay. Goodness. I know it's a strange thing when you're actually looking back on it. So now at the age of 35, you say, so it's only really this year that you've come to fully accept yourself and love yourself.
Yeah, and like that's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I can't just flip a switch and it will be gone.
Yeah.
Those insecurities are probably deep seated. Do you know what I mean? So I just know. I think I've realised that. I didn't even realise I was blocking it out myself.
And have you had to go to therapy or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've gone to therapy. I've
been in therapy since I was 5.
Yeah, I've done the work. Like, I'm trying to do the work.
Okay. And is therapy good? Like, what kind of therapy is it? Is it like cognitive behavioural therapy? Is it psychotherapy? What is it?
Well, I just go to a therapist. I don't really know.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't.
Is it just someone that calls himself a therapist?
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
And you don't even know if they have qualifications or not.
Just someone I can vent to, really.
Okay.
But yeah, I've gone to a couple of sessions, and after the circle, I really had to go to a couple of sessions just to clear my head. And I think.
Okay, right. Do you know what? Let's stop right there because I want to know what the circle is. Let's explain to people what the circle is.
Okay.
And then we can go into why you went to therapy after that. So the circle was your first toe dip into.
Well, actually, Laura, it wasn't.
Oh, was it not? Okay.
I was first dates.
Right. Okay. We need to. Sorry. Now, my researcher did not do their research
Yeah.
properly. So your first toe dip into reality TV was First Dates.
First dates.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that go for you?
Well, like, great. I mean, I did it because I wanted to show how difficult it can be to date with a disability.
Okay.
And I actually was so nervous going on. And my friend said I should go on because I started to do my own videos on, remember Snapchat?
Yes.
So I started to do my own videos on Snapchat. And I just was talking about going on dates and, you know, online dating and how difficult it can be for a disabled person to online date because you always have to have that conversation before you meet them. So, you know, I'm disabled, I have cerebral palsy. It just kills the vibe. It just, you know, but like, I know it needs to be done. It's essential, but it's also...
Because the last thing you want is them to turn up and see and get a shock?
Yeah, and get a shock. So I went on first dates to kind of open people's eyes, hopefully, to that.
Okay.
And just like for myself, for my own confidence.
Yeah.
You know, I never really dated. Like, I was always scared of that rejection. So
okay.
I went on, and then like that just opened a lot of doors for me. I feel so grateful.
Okay. And did you get on well with your date?
Yeah, like
did you see him afterwards?
No. But I feel like we got on really well. But I don't think he liked me. Like, I don't like, and I don't think we were good right for each other.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't on him, it wasn't on me. We were grand and good, but like there was no spark there. Do you know what I mean? Which was apparent, but back in that day where I would have, like, anyone giving me an ounce of attention, I would have jumped at.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A black sack look at me and I'm like, dream. Just any validation that would make me feel wanted and desired. Like, I didn't even have to fancy the person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I felt I was lucky that they wanted me, not the other way around.
Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And I've struggled with that my whole life, that I've always felt, I'm so lucky that people... I've never looked at myself and like, no, they're lucky to have me as well.
Yeah. Are you considering that now? Do you think that now, that people are lucky to have you in their lives?
I hope, yeah.
Good.
But it's still there.
Okay.
Do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, that kind of, I suppose, like, what do you call, like, that voice in my head. Do you know what I mean? And everyone has it. Everyone has their own insecurities. I don't want this to be a trauma dump on people. Jesus, they're like, Jesus, keep it light, Paddy.
No, not at all. This is actually, because I think that this is really interesting, because you are a flamboyant, funny person, but I think that I like to scratch that surface and see, you know, what the other side of you as well. And I think that other side of you is so very important. So I'm happy for you to trauma dump. But you'd be surprised. And like you say, everyone has their moments of where they feel that they need validation too. Yeah. So I'm sure there's people listening that aren't disabled and that aren't gay or that aren't anything, you know, that are just people like everyone, like everyone. And they have their own traumas or their own flaws or their own, I suppose, insecurities. So I think you're speaking to everyone.
Yeah, and I do, and I hope that anyone listening go through it. Like, I think everyone should go to therapy and should do some work, because I think that we all have shit we need to deal with. Do you know what I mean?
Be more like the Americans.
Well, I think so, a bit. Like, I think it's a happy medium, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem with going to talk to someone? It's not weakness. What's the problem with being open with your emotions? In our culture, we find that very difficult. Do you know what I mean?
We do, especially in Ireland.
Yeah, I know.
Without a doubt. No, it is. I think it's good, and I think that sometimes couples therapy can be really helpful for couples as well. Even they don't necessarily have to be at breaking point, but just to go and talk through things in the company of a third person can often be a catalyst for change and for growth within a you know, a relationship as well.
And do you ever feel sometimes when you do talk, you feel a bit lighter after it? Like, sometimes your head gets muddled because you've so many opinions going on, or like emotions heightened, and you can't really think straight. And once you say it out or have it out with the person, you realise it's not as big as I thought.
That's it. You don't even need the other person to say that it's not that big. No. It's like, for instance, waking up thinking, oh my God, I have so much to do today. And then if you actually vocalise that, and say, do I actually have loads of things? Or is it just taking up my head? And it'll take me 5 minutes to actually do this.
I know. You know? It's mad.
No, I think you're right.
So I'm really passionate about that kind of work, and I think that, you know, especially kids living on social media and having a platform need to know, like, that we can sometimes have such a comparison and get in our own heads about, like, why don't I have that life? Why don't, you know? Instead of actually living in the present and being grateful for what we have now, we're always looking, and I'm guilty of it too, you know, and I think that if we're more open about the struggles we face, because everything is just so instant now. Do you know what I mean? Instant gratification. Like, we live online. We have so much knowledge coming at us that it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you say, the instant gratification. So there's no ads on TV anymore. I remember someone saying that, like, an ad came on the TV when their kid was watching TV, and the kid lost their shit because they're just not used to not having that constant streaming of program that they want to see. And sure, with TikTok and all the rest and all the really quick swipes, our attention spans are at an all-time low as well. So even when you say going to therapy and spending the time talking about yourself or talking to yourself, without sounding crazy, it's good. So tell me a little bit about the Circle then. What was the premise of that?
Oh yeah, sorry. So the Circle, basically, everyone lives in a block of flats in Manchester. And you're all in the same block, but you're all in different apartments. Do you get me? And you talk through an app called The Circle. But you can be anyone you want to be in this app. So you can make up a catfish. You can be yourself. I could decide to play you if I want. Anyone that you think would be the most popular person to make you the influencer, essentially. Okay.
And do you meet the other people ever?
No.
And are you living by yourself in this apartment? Okay. And how long did it go on for?
So it went on for a month.
And were you in that apartment by yourself for a month?
So I was meant to be a bombshell, they call it. So I went in 10 days late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't pretend you were someone else.
Yeah, no, I did. I was myself, but I hid my disability for a while.
Okay.
I wanted to see what it was like to not have my disability and see how people would it change people interact with me.
Okay.
If they didn't see my condition. But I also wanted to show people that, like, because people look at my disability as a weakness, you know what I mean? In society, it's looked at as, like, a weak thing. And I wanted to show people, like, I'll win because of it. It's probably one of my biggest strengths.
Okay.
And I'll win that. And I wanted to flip the narrative of what it means to be disabled, essentially. So,
and did people interact with you differently once you came out as disabled?
I actually figured out that no, like, they may be a bit more. It's hard to say because I actually interacted with myself different when I didn't have the disability.
Okay.
I actually didn't know who I was anymore. Like, I felt a bit muted, like a bit like I felt like I was in the closet or something. Do you know what I mean? I thought I'd find it freeing, but it's so intertwined in my identity that I was kind of like, okay, so what do I? Who am I?
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that just shows that it is such a like part of who I am. You know?
And you won the circle.
I did.
And was that
it's still
glorious?
fascinating it's still fascinating for me that I actually won the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy when I think back at it. I'm like,
was it amazing? Was it life changing?
Like, it was an amazing moment, and my God, like, it's definitely given me a lot. But I definitely had my struggles with it. I had really bad imposter syndrome. Like, I didn't think I should have won the show.
Okay.
And I like, yeah, my dad had passed away at the time as well. I was going through a lot of like just really bad imposter syndrome and grief, and feeling like that I had this idea that if I when I won the reality show, like, you know, I'd be getting brand deals. Do you know what I mean? This is it. My moment has come.
I finally made it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And like, I played the game in there to win the show. So like, I thought like, I've done it now. Now I can like relax. People are going to be knocking at my door. Jeez, didn't get one knock.
Did you not?
No, like, and then we went into COVID, so I couldn't really springboard off the win either.
Okay.
So I went through a very destructive like time then of just like feeling really sorry for myself, if I'm honest.
And what was the destruction then? What was that?
Just like, yeah, just do like just partying.
Loads of coke?
No, it was.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
No, I was just like partying loads.
Okay.
And like,
you weren't being kind to yourself.
No, yeah. And
did your dad die before or after you went in?
Before, yeah.
Okay, so that's sad. So you're dealing with all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just, yeah, a really difficult time. And then I don't know what happened. One day I just woke up and I'm like, what am I fucking doing? Like, I can still, like, I can go out and sell myself. No one can sell myself like I can.
Yeah.
So get up off your arse and stop feeling sorry for yourself and actually do something about it.
Yeah.
Like, no one can take away that I wouldn't show. That will help me.
Okay.
No one can take away, like, how I can sell my own story. That can help me. And so I just started doing my own proposals and sending them out to people.
And you told me earlier, you wrote TV shows and just wrote yourself into them.
Yeah, no one was giving me shows.
Because no one will give you a show, and you think that that's because there's no space for disabled people on...
Yeah, on media.
You know,
like, there's very little space.
Okay.
You know, like, everything has to be surrounding my disability for me to be on a show. Like,
so it has to be about disability for you to be on the show, rather than it just be a normal show. You're there and you happen to be disabled.
Exactly. So I just wanted to, I love writing shows and concepts. I find it really therapeutic in a sense. I love TV. My favorite pastime is to watch TV. Like,
okay.
And I don't care who knows it. I don't like to hike. I don't like to. I'm a TV like junkie.
Okay.
Like, I just consume it. It's my favorite thing. I could watch TV all day and not feel bad at all. So
that's lovely that you can say that. You don't feel bad about it. You're just like, that's me and I'm owning it. Okay.
Yeah. So I just started. I then like applied for this thing with the BBC, and it was kind of like this development scheme where they're helping people out of the minority groups. They were going to pick 4 people.
Okay.
And they gave me like a 6-month crash course.
So they picked you and who else?
Just I forget their names, but
it's okay. But what type of people? Because you said they were minority groups.
I was a disabled one. There was a black woman. There was an Asian woman, and then there was a sex worker. Okay.
And was a sex worker male or female?
Female.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all kind of got chosen by BBC to kind of take under their wing, and they taught us how to kind of like write shows and pitch ideas and present. So that was such an amazing thing, and like I had to do a lot of interviews and all for that. So it's a very proud moment because I never really thought I was smart. Because I think the reason why I wanted to reality TV is because I used to think I've nothing but my personality. I'm just a bit mad. Like, I'm not clever, so I have to. You know, I didn't think I was kind of like in any smart. I used to think like I'm just a bit gas. So,
I'm going to capitalise on that rather than actually... But you are smart.
No, that's what I mean. I never believed it. So like, I think getting the BBC thing and actually like them wanting to teach me made me really think about like I can do this. I used to think I just wouldn't be able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
And did you go to college after school at all?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you study?
Media.
Oh, okay, so you've been like, this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in my bones.
It is. And so this programme that you did with BBC, what was it about?
So I've actually, it's called Should I Be Fixed? So
I thought you were going to say to me, I've signed a disclaimer and I can't talk
No,
about it.
no.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Can
Yeah.
you be fixed? So
Should I be fixed?
Should I be fixed?
So it's about the narrative of like throughout life, especially when you're disabled or something, people think that you're broken in some way. Like society thinks. My dad used to be like, that's all he wanted to do is to fix me as a person in terms of like, so I could walk better. And I get it. That's completely fair enough. But like it also puts into question that in some way we're broken. Do you know what I mean? And we're looking at the scientific advances available for me as a person with this condition, but it's also looking at the human aspect of, would I actually want to be fixed, or is it because society expects me to do it that I'll do it? Because it will fundamentally, I wouldn't be the same person without it. I wouldn't be sitting here, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing the BBC show.
Jack Kavanagh said the same thing to me in my podcast with him, because obviously he has had a traumatic spinal injury, which means he's now in a wheelchair, so he wasn't born with his disability.
Yeah.
Or his different ability, as he says. But he does say that he was asked by someone, if you want to have a little sip of tea there now, you can, Paddy. I see the hand going up and then back down again. If you want, you can have your cup of tea. So he said to me that he was asked by someone, if I could wave a magic wand and take your spinal injury away, would you do that? And he said he actually had to think about that question. He didn't answer immediately. Yeah. Because it has become part of his life now. It's who he is now, who he identifies with.
Isn't that mad though?
That I find that shocking, actually. So,
like, but that means because I suppose in our heads it's who we are. It's part of our identity. It's a fundamental part of who I am. My makeup, and probably Jack feels the same. Do you know what I mean? Like it's given me a resilience. It's given me a fire, you know. And if I didn't have it, I'd be a completely different person, I think. Yeah.
And when you were getting, I suppose, in inverted commas, fixed when you were young, remember you said you went to a school and they were interested in fixing your physical disability. Did you do lots of physio in your legs?
Yeah. And I had loads of operations. Like I had 3 operations. They broke 2 of my. I had to get like I think I had about 4 operations overall.
Okay, and so you wouldn't have been able to walk without these? Is that right?
So I'd walk. Cerebral palsy, you walk on your tippy toes. So you walk on your tippy toes. So, I wouldn't have been able to balance. My heel wouldn't have went down. Do you know what I mean? So they had to lengthen the tendons and.
Okay.
Kind of like do a lot of, so I could like walk around like this. Do you know what I mean? But the thing about cerebral palsy is you only have a window. So when you're a kid, it's actually much better to get stuff done. So when you're an adult, you're kind of, this is it. Do you know what I mean? And when I was doing the show, I probably shouldn't say this because like this is a big part of the show.
Oh, do say it. Go on.
Go on. Okay, twisted my arm.
Feck it.
I asked an expert because I was talking to a neurological expert. And I was like, could I be fixed? Is that on the table for me? They're like, even if we could fix the part of your brain that's slightly damaged, because that's what it is, slight brain damage, the signal in my head is telling me to walk wrong, essentially.
Okay, so it's not that there's a physical problem with the tendons or the...
It's that my signal is telling me that this is the right way to walk. So my body believes that this is the right way to walk.
Okay.
So my signal is slightly damaged, do you get me?
Okay.
So they're like, even if you could fix that part, your body actually wouldn't be able to even comprehend, because it's now developed in a way that this is the right way to walk. And
your tendons and your muscles and your bones have all developed
differently.
Okay.
Isn't that mental?
Yeah, it's mad.
Because I thought if you could just fix them, then I'd be able to walk. But now my whole body has developed slightly differently to yours.
Okay.
I thought that was fascinating. Now.
Yeah, it is. And what conclusion did you come to at the end of the...
You'll have to watch it.
Feck it. When's it out?
May.
Oh, okay. We'll get this podcast out.
Yeah.
Kind of mid-May then, I think. Or, like, you know... we're April now, so yeah, we should be. So it'll kind of hit at the right time.
Yeah.
So that'll be good for the promotion of the programme as well for you.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah. So can I ask you as well then, have you had any work with RTE?
I have.
Okay.
I presented a show with them called The Fitting Room.
Okay, and what was that like?
It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was all about inclusivity of fashion and clothes. Like, you didn't have to be disabled, actually. Just, if you had a different kind of body type and you were finding it hard to dress for it on the high street, you would come into the fitting room and we would make you a bespoke outfit that would fit your body and make you feel sexy.
Okay.
So what I liked about it, it could be disabled people, it could be people with just with different bodies. You didn't have to be.
Okay.
And I thought that was an amazing kind of aspirational, kind of inspiring.
Yeah. But again, that was to do with your disability. So ultimately you would love to get work for Paddy, not necessarily surrounding the stereotypical disabled person. I'd
love to be Graham Norton, is what I'd love to be. Chat show host.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd love that.
Well, you know there's a vacancy coming up now in the Late Late Show.
No, I'd be too controversial for the Late Late. They'd have a fucking heart attack.
Do you reckon? Are you too controversial for RTE?
My purple hair. Everyone will be like, excuse this.
I'm sure, aren't they all saying they need to inject a little bit of spark into it?
I know, well, I'll put the spark into it. They'll be sparked. Be sparked out.
They'll be spooked.
Yeah.
Or is it just not ready for you just yet?
I don't think.
The world is too early.
I think I'd be a bit too on the edge for what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is fine. Like, I don't think Late Late would be what I'd want to do.
Okay.
But like, I'd love to do kind of. The thing about this is, and I've thought about what you say, is it's not that I don't want to do things that surround my disability, because I understand. I love that I'm a voice for the disability community, and I want to celebrate that, and I want to lift other disabled people up and talent up, but we don't even get a space at the table. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, that's the problem. Like, I shouldn't just be getting things because I'm disabled. I should be getting it because I'm good and I'm disabled.
Yeah, I understand.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I say I do love things that surround my disability, and I love like being in campaigns, like beauty campaigns, and you can see a disabled person being desirable and stunning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than us being just in like a hospital campaign. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You made me laugh. Because it's so not you. Imagine in a little hospital bed with a little sorry looking face.
Anything, I'm a hustler, baby. Anything for that book.
I know. Oh, that would be next. It'll be the book, won't it?
Yeah.
So take me back to the therapy then, because you were talking about the circle and the fact that you needed to go to therapy after circle, and I'm wondering why.
Because going on a reality show really affects your mental health.
Okay.
Like,
well, there's been a few suicides by people.
I really struggled with, like, I really thought I was a bad person.
Why?
I don't know. I felt like, because when I came out, I got a lot of hate, and I kind of.
When you came out of the show?
Yeah, show. Okay. I got a lot of hate. I opened my phone and there was like 12,000 hate messages.
Why?
Being like, you're disgusting, you don't even use it, like, you're like really disabled, like, you should have never won the show, like, you were so boring, but like, if you weren't disabled you wouldn't even be on the show, like, all this really like fundamentally like horrible stuff about my character.
Okay.
And the thing about it is, when you win a show, you feel like, I've won the show, this is amazing.
Yeah.
People are going to love me. and I really did not. Like, and I did get a lot of love as well. But I don't think I was ready for the polarization that I was coming out to. Because, like, people either loved me or they really hated me. Do you know what I mean? So, and maybe I just was kind of in La La Land thinking that I won the show.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is going to be it. People are going to love me. Do you know what I mean? And that wasn't the case. And that's okay. Maybe I am a polarizing character, but I wasn't ready to own that. So then I fundamentally thought I was a bad person. I'm like, people hate me. I'm a really bad person. Like, I'm shit. Like,
okay. But isn't it like that thing, you know, you can have 1,000 amazing messages, but it's the one bad one that you read and that you think you believe. So
yeah, that's what happened. And then I suppose my dad had passed away just before I went in, so I was going through a lot of grief as well. And I just needed to sort my head out.
Okay.
You know, and I think that's okay. I think when you're on a reality show, your emotions get heightened, and you're in that show for a reason. I mean, I remember one of the producers came in and was like, where do you think you lie in that final 9? And I was like, God, pretty loud, to be honest. He's like, yeah, because you're a game player, so start playing the game.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God. oh my God, he thinks he's going to kick me out, girl. And then I started making mad moves.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because they want you in there for a reason. They wanted, because they do, like, I had to do like psychiatric tests and all before I went in. Like, they know you as a person. They know what makes you tick. They know, like, I had to do about 10 auditions. Do you know what I mean? They know everything about you.
And they want a bit of spice as well.
Yeah,
it's not interesting if there isn't
so,
spice.
so basically, like, he knew by saying that I would probably go like berserk, and I did, but do you know what I mean? But
you were like, you just needed to say that. That's all I needed.
You want the game? I'll give you the game. Yeah.
Okay. So the therapy helped you then?
It really did.
And did it help you with other aspects of your life then as well? Okay.
It helped me kind of understand myself and like try to kind of build myself back up. Do you know what I mean? And love myself again. I really didn't love myself for a long time.
And people were telling you that you used your disability to win the show.
Yeah.
And you did, though.
I did, though.
Of course. But, like, sure, people use their bodies to win shows.
I know.
So what's wrong with that? You know,
but, like, that was about, like, because disability will be seen as you shouldn't use something that's been, like, inflicted on you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a positive, it's a negative.
And do you ever use it to skip the queue for the toilet?
Absolutely.
All
the time.
At concerts.
All the time. I'm like, sorry, I can't.
Even like actually make the walk a little bit even worse so that you know, they really feel sorry for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you best believe you do the same.
I know.
My mom sometimes like, you're acting more disabled there so we can, when I get out of this car, like people don't think I'm just parking in a disabled spot for no reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, but I am disabled, Mom. She's like, yeah, but just
act a bit more, will you?
Yeah.
We just like, you know, shake your head a little bit
such
too.
a mom thing, isn't
I know.
it?
And this is your stepmom.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about her, because your mum died when you were 5. So obviously, was it just you and your dad then?
Yeah. And my stepmom came on the scene about 2 years after.
Okay. And did she bring with her own children?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
She had a daughter. So I have a stepsister from that. And then they had twin boys, my dad and the stepmom. So
okay.
So they're the only two actually properly related in our family, which is hilarious.
And your dad had other children as well, am I
my
right?
dad had a sister, or not a daughter.
Okay.
And my birth mum had a daughter. So I've 2 half sisters, 2 half brothers, and a stepsister.
That must have been a bit mad growing up in that.
Oh, chaos. But we all get on.
Yeah.
But we're all a bit mad.
Are you?
Yeah.
It runs in families.
Yeah. That mad streak is in us all, I'd say.
And your mum is the best, yeah?
Love her, yeah. She's great. She's always been there for me, like.
Waving the disabled pass when you're driving.
That's terrible. She's going to have a heart attack that I said that. She's going to be like, no, but like, she's going to be why does she have to tell? She's only ever done
it's reality.
She's only ever done it once.
Oh, yeah, sure, right. He's winking at me while he says that to me. We know it happens all the time.
She's going to have a heart attack. She's like, oh my God, people are going to think I'm doing it. What was I going to say? Yeah, she's lovely. I love her. Like, we get on so well. Like, I'm very lucky to have her.
Okay. And you said when you were growing up, you didn't see your disability. However, you did have that thing at the back of your head that you weren't good enough, or you had a bad body image of yourself. So how has that translated into the dating scene for you, just in terms of, you know, finding someone
it's been
to
really
spend your life
tough.
with? And
this is the thing, I think society puts the pressure on you that you have to find someone, and if you don't find someone, you're kind of like, there's something wrong with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm really happy on my own now, and I think that I need to be happy on my own. I need to be happy within myself until I can find someone, because if I don't, like, I know it sounds so cheesy, but if you don't love yourself, like, you can't love anyone else. I've never actually been in love, even with my relationships before. They never really knew who I was. Do you know?
Okay.
I was always scared of showing that vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because being online and being this person and having that pressure sometimes that you are a disability activist and people, and you are breaking boundaries and barriers.
Yeah.
You feel this kind of, sometimes I feel pressure that like I have to portray that I'm always kind of strong and
fun and hilarious.
Yeah, and always kind of, I'm on top of my disability, like I don't care, but like sometimes I do feel shit about it. Sometimes I do feel really vulnerable about it. But it can be really hard to say that.
Yeah. Okay. But you have had relationships, but you just feel that you didn't.
No, I never
They never saw the true Paddy.
No, well, they've seen versions. They've seen versions.
They've seen iterations.
But yeah, I don't think I knew who I was either. Do you know? I really only think lately this is the first year of my life where I really kind of know who I am now. Do you know? I was always versions of myself or versions of other people.
Yeah.
A person that a version that I would think would fit into the world or fit into whatever kind of social situation I'm in. Do you know what I mean? I never really truly knew what I wanted or even loved myself. I've never truly loved myself. So I blocked that off. I felt like I was a burden, like I was a broken thing that needed kind of like, you know, I was the person that had to deal with me. This is my infliction almost. That's terrible.
That is terrible. But you're not, and not that people with disabilities are burdens in their family, but you are able to look after yourself completely, am I right? Do you need any kind of care?
No.
Okay.
You know, and I fought really, really hard for that. You know, obviously, once that my parents were nervous about that, you know, they didn't know if I could live my own, and there was a point where I was gonna be at a granny flat beside the house, and I went mental. I was like, I am not living in a granny flat beside your house. Like, is that all you think is? That's what's
with the LGBTQI plus flags sticking out of the granny
like,
flag.
I was like, is that what you think? That's all you think I'm gonna do? Like, and like, from that moment, I also think I find it really difficult to ask for help because I feel like if I ask for help, then I'm kind of admitting that maybe I do need to live in that granny flat, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't. I live an independent life and I've fought really hard to get that. And I love my independence.
Okay.
But yeah, I've realised that like I have to now, it's up to me. I can't keep blaming everyone else. Like I've had a part to play in my own mind of how the perceptions will all happen. Do you know what I mean? And it's time for me to take a look at myself.
Yeah.
You know. So
you can be this character or this alias of yourself too, but then you also have to be the real you, isn't that right?
Yeah, 100%.
And is your therapy helping you through that? Are you still going
it
is.
It is. Not at the minute. I've got like, you know, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So I think that I'll always dip in and out. Do you know? I think that's important, I do love journaling now, and you know, I write. I think writing for me is very therapeutic. Like if I feel down, I just write. Do you know what I mean? It helps me.
Yeah.
And I think you need to find what helps you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm loving the kind of. I don't know how you're going to feel with this, but I'm loving the kind of manifesting thing. I know it's not for everyone, but for me, it focuses me. Like it just helps me keep level.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that manifesting gets a bad rep.
Yeah.
Manifesting is just a nice term for seeing yourself doing something else.
Yeah.
I think
it's as well helping you with your, because I think everyone feeds off energy. Like you have an energy, I have an energy. We walk into a room, you feed off it.
Yeah.
Like going through that self-development of manifesting helps you understand that people buy off people. And if your energy when you walk into a room is like high and vibrant, people will know that. If you walk into a room and it's low and you're down, people won't like buy into that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of putting the onus on yourself that you can change how you're portrayed or viewed by the world.
And if you're not getting job offers, you just write the show and write yourself into them.
Just write the fucking show.
So what shows have you written then?
Oh God, this is the first one that got commissioned.
The BBC one?
Yeah.
For the Can I Be Fixed?
Yeah, that's the first.
That was your idea?
Yeah.
Okay, and the BBC seem to like you.
They do. Thank God.
Yeah.
At least someone does. At least someone does.
RTE aren't knocking
because RTE aren't coming anything. I'm not getting any offers for the late.
And what about radio? Would you like radio?
Yeah, I don't.
Has anyone told you you have a face for radio?
I'm only here we go. With this Botox face, I want to be out and proud.
Paddy told me he was 35. I nearly fell off my chair. He looks about 3.
You look
and he
3.
says it's Botox, hun.
It is. I love Botox. Look at this. That's me raising.
good.
Do you even know what expression I have on now?
No, you could be really angry now and I wouldn't even know. You look totally different without your glasses on.
I know, people always say that.
You're literally like a different person. Take your glasses off there now and stare at the
No, I have a lazy eye. I can't. I have a slight lazy eye.
On top of everything, you have a lazy eye.
I know. Oh, wait. I was going in to get fucking laser eye surgery. And I walk in and they're like, Jesus, you have really weird shaped eyes. I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, do I? They're like, yeah. They're like, think about an eyeball, but like an inflated football. Your eyeballs are like deflated rugby balls standing up. I was like, I am dead. They're like, so we actually couldn't do laser eye surgery on you.
We might miss because we don't know where it's going.
Because I don't have the depth of the eyes. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, so they're like, we could do an implant. And I was like, but you need 3 centimeters or 3 millimeters maybe to put the implant in. I have 2.99. Isn't that now? I actually just started laughing.
You're literally like, what is that? Is it Calamity Jane or someone who's misfortune upon misfortune happens? So now you have eyes that are the shape of 2 deflated rugby balls.
I was like, oh, thank you so much, Mary.
I'd say you left that surgery and you felt real sexy.
Oh, it felt so sexy. I was like, get me on Grindr.
Yeah, get me on Grindr. I actually put this in my profile. My eyeballs are like 2
my favourite feature, my deflated eyeballs.
What's Grindr like for someone like yourself that has a disability and that's really out there with it?
I love it.
Okay.
I have to say. Which basically is a nice way of saying I'm just love riding around. No, I'm not. I'm not a slut. If I wish I was. Yeah, it's great. I like it. Okay. But I think, with the apps, you have to take them with a pinch of salt. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to be I feel so pressured to like be on the apps and be talking with people, and I'm like, oh God, this is so boring. I get bored. I'm like, I've nothing else to say. I feel like I lose my personality. I don't know what even with Grindr. It's instant. You just kind of are like,
okay,
hey,
yeah.
You know?
I have.
There's no bullshit.
I have a friend who's heterosexual and he's on the dating apps as well, and he says so it's probably a bit different.
Yeah.
But he said that he has the same lines. He literally nearly has them on a spreadsheet and copies and pastes them.
Like one time I actually Googled good lines to open with on.
Isn't that funny how that's like the dating scene is so different now?
I know.
Where you don't just meet someone and you kind of get to know them and then you start dating or whatever it is. Now it's that those pickup lines. But as I said, this fella literally has the same stories, the same lines, and he says them each time, and he says he just flings them out. And just see who bites. And then he was saying before, when Tinder first came on, he thought, when I don't know what it is, he swipe left for yes. Is that right? Or right?
Well, yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
And
he was swiping wrong.
No, when he learned that you just have to swipe and they're not going to get back, they may not get back to you, he just was swiping everyone. He just indiscriminately swiping. So he says
he's like it's a numbers game.
Yeah, he was. It's a numbers game. Like you cast the net wide and you might find one. So I was just like, this thought.
He's obviously in sales, is he?
Oh, he could be. Could be.
That's a real sales technique.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. He uses the same lines all the time. He literally nearly has a spreadsheet and he just copies and pastes them in.
Which one will I use today?
I know, yeah. It's gas. So you like Grindr and you've met people on that.
Yeah.
But you're happy at the minute.
I am. I'm really, really happy by myself. Which I think for the first time ever, I'm delighted about that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm really I'm focused on the career at the minute, Laura. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I can see that.
Focused.
And do you do any corporate speaking or?
I do.
Okay.
I love corporate speaking.
Okay.
I love the sound of my own voice.
Who'd have guessed?
No, I do. So I do a lot around disability representation in the workplace, resilience, grit. Like, I've worked with a good few companies like LinkedIn. Can't think of them now, but LinkedIn's one.
And you go into them. You actually go into their offices and speak, do you? Or
offices. Yeah. I really do enjoy it, and I think, especially when you're disabled, you can find it hard to get a job. So I think it's important.
Can we talk about that? Actually, you can find it hard to get a job in the media or
in general.
Okay, and that's an issue, is it?
Yeah, it's a really big issue.
And what is the confounding factor there? Because you're okay. So fair enough. I'm a pharmacist. So for instance, if I couldn't walk, like Jack, so he has to use a wheelchair in the dispensary, so he can't reach for certain things, or that kind of way. So that I can understand how that would be physically limiting, or if I couldn't use my hands, but. For someone like yourself who could have a desk job or an office job or something like that, it doesn't need to necessarily use their legs for walking around in all the time. Is it still difficult to get jobs as a disabled person?
Because people are fearful of disability. People are fearful of our capability. Do you know what I mean? Are they capable? Are they, like, I remember when I went for a lot of jobs and I couldn't get one. And my dad was like, well, it's going to be hard for you to get one because you could have the same degree as someone who's able-bodied, and it's just easier to hire the able-bodied person because they don't have to think about wheelchair bathrooms. They don't have to think about access for lights, like where the light switches are, where everything is. Like, because the world isn't built for disabled people. It's built for able-bodied people. But the difference is disabled people have been around since the beginning of time, but sometimes we're just turned a blind eye to because people are fearful of it. Because actually, you could all be disabled tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? And as you get older, you become more disabled anyway. You
become less able-bodied. And I think that they have done some pilot projects in some countries where they have deliberately made the space livable for everyone.
Yeah, because you could live in my world. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If the light switch was lower, if the desk, you could all live in my world. But we can't sometimes live in yours. And I think that's unfair.
It is, absolutely.
And that's why in the workplace I think there's a lot of fear because, they have to think about these things. What if, like, the lift isn't working, like, or there's no access to the disabled toilet, do you know what I mean? Or, like, the runways to the desks aren't wide enough, do you know?
So all of those little things. And then would there be a prejudice there that they think that you might be sick more often?
Yeah.
Or
and they think that, like, they also think that, like, we wouldn't be able to be disciplined. Do you know what I mean? They'd be fearful, like, they'd be afraid if, like, say if we do something wrong, they wouldn't know how to sometimes interact with that. Like, how do I say it?
Okay.
Or, like, if even to ask about my disability, they'd be afraid to say the wrong things. They wouldn't say anything at all. Do you know? Like, I went to a team bonding day once with one of them, and this was I loved this company, but this will show you kind of like the innocent ignorance and kind of unawareness.
Okay.
Like, went to the team bonding day, which is obviously you're meant to be bonding with your team, having a great time.
Yeah.
And there was 2 activities. One was canoeing, which I can't do because I don't really have a lot of strength in, like, my midriff to like sit up in a canoe.
Okay.
And then the other one was archery, which I can't do either because I wouldn't be able to balance that long and, like, get the arch up. So they just gave me a bottle of wine and put me in the corner. Do you know what I mean?
So you didn't think to do an activity that you would be able. So what activity could you have done?
But they said, well, we didn't want to make you feel different. But I'm like, you've made me feel the most different I've ever felt.
Yeah.
Because it's not that I'm happy that you want me to come to these team bonding days, but, like, you should be aware of what I can do, or even ask me what I can do. Like, I could have done bowling, I could have done go-karting, I could have,
There's loads of things you can do.
Yeah. And then when I went to them, they were like, Paddy, get over it, you're fine. Do you know what I mean? And it's also not owning up to, like, oh God, yeah, we didn't actually think about that. Do you know?
Okay. And our workplace.
Like, all I did was bomb with a bottle of wine that day.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
And did you feel shit?
Yeah.
Okay. And did any of your colleagues recognise that it was the wrong thing to do?
Yeah, but, like, people are just, they don't know. Like, everyone uses humour. It's like, oh, it's grand, she's just getting locked in the corner.
Yeah.
When I thought about it, I'm like, but, like, that needs to change. That idea, like, of, there's a difference with not saying it, but also being unaware of it. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to, like, I understand you're not trying to make my disability a thing. That's lovely of you. But being unaware of it makes it even more of a thing.
So it's about them understanding what is, I suppose it's about them just taking it into consideration.
Exactly, and just being aware.
Yeah, and that's like what you're saying. So when a disabled person goes for a job, then and they think, oh God, there's so much more that we have to think about.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know what it's like? It's like when someone announces they're pregnant, the bloody HR forms come out, and this, that, and the other thing, and you know, and but then again, we all know how to deal with it. And even if someone isn't disabled or isn't a woman or hasn't gone through pregnancy, they know there's forms to fill in, there's protocols to do. So why can't it be any different for disabled people, and have policies and procedures around that, and team bonding days that? So they could have just come to you and asked you, listen, what can you do?
Yeah.
Or what would you like to do, Paddy?
Exactly.
That we could all join in with.
Yeah, we're thinking these things.
Yeah.
Could you do any of these?
Yeah.
Do you know, it's just have a bit of consideration.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, and because it's not on your doorstep or you're not affected by it, most people are just kind of blindly unaware. You know, it's like when people walk in crutches for the first time, they're like, good God, I don't know, how do you do it with your hands? The effort, I'm so tired walking around in crutches all the time. I never thought how tiring it must be for you to just be walking around. Do you know what I mean? Or they only think about it now when their mother ends up in a wheelchair because she's old or they broke something, and then like, God, there's no ramps here. How are you meant to? Do you know what I mean? Only when it affects them, do people start to realise. And disabled people bring stuff to the workforce too. Like, they bring an awareness and an understanding that you wouldn't think about. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone has a different perspective and a different way of life. And like, I think that deserves to have its space as well.
Absolutely.
And not just to be a tick box. Do you get what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, the HR tick box, the famous tick box.
Like,
in the HR
I'm in every magazine, like, because I'm a disabled employee. Do you know what I mean? No.
Oh. You're like the
poster boy.
Yeah, poster boy for disability in the workforce. Yeah, no, that's just bloody wrong. But actually, it's interesting what you say about the world is not built for you, because I have read a book twice, actually. It's a book called Invisible Women by Caroline Perez. And it's about the invisibility of women in society, in medicine, as in just, you know, throughout the years that women have not been looked at, or clinical trials have not been done on women and they've all been done on men, etc. And that the actual world has been built for men, okay? So the able-bodied men. And we could go even further and say able-bodied white men.
Yes.
So, you know, there is no, say, for instance, in city centres or in general in European cities, roadways and pathways are not built for women pushing buggies to a creche on their way to work. They are built for men getting into cars and driving to work. So even those kind of simple things that we just live with because that's the way the world has been built, and we accept that. And you just said about wheelchairs and ramps. So ditto buggies, say. Women trying to, you know, negotiate a buggy on the ramps or cobblestones in town is difficult because we need ramps, we need etc. And just like what you said, if you don't see it, you don't do it. Now, obviously, people just accept it.
I know.
It's time to kind of question that, isn't it?
I think so. And I think that, like, you know, it's time for us to have a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if you're going to say that I'm inclusive, then you have to be, to walk the walk. Do you know what I mean?
And have any companies actually asked you for your advice and consulted you on how to implement a better disability awareness within their own workforce?
Yeah, and I would say, like, a lot of them do ask me, and I would say the biggest thing is to do, like, in an anonymous survey where people are allowed to come forward, but you don't have to know who they are, and kind of, like, say they are disabled. It could be invisible, it could be physical. And then all you need to know is that someone on your team has this. Because most people don't want to say they have a condition unless it's very visible, do you know? But they may need something.
Yeah.
But they're afraid that you'll look at them differently if you do. But you don't need to know who it is. All you need to know is these are people within the organisation that have this. So we now need to be aware when we are organising something that this is going to be it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then how does it look? So are you part of disability organisations or cerebral palsy organisations?
No, actually, no.
You're not? Okay.
Like, I just get, I'm a lone wolf.
I was just going to say, are you Lone Ranger?
Yeah, Lone Ranger.
Around. Okay.
Yeah, so they come to me and they, you know, and we negotiate.
They're like, I cost this. and I don't go any lower, and my fees are going up next month. Actually,
do you know who I think I am? Yeah. So look, I really do enjoy it. I think it's very important work, and I do, because a lot of kids and all, you know, will be thinking that they're not going to be able to get the job that they want, or
well, that's So how do you go about changing that then for those kids?
Just keep knocking on those doors. Do you know what I mean? And I hope that's my biggest aspiration in life, is to get people that are younger than me, let them see that they can go for their dreams.
Yeah.
And they can we have a space in this world. Do you know what I mean? And shout until we get it. Do you know what I mean? And I wanna use my platform and that privilege I have to help others and to know that they can do this. Do you know?
But you say that, but then again, there is a difficulty with these people in terms of being able to find jobs and accessing that. So I wonder, is there a lot of, or is there some mental health issues in that goes hand in hand with being someone that has a disability and that can't get work, and that
there obviously is
reliant on home and reliant on social welfare, etc.
There's 100% is. Do you know what I mean? But they also need to be given chances. People just assume, or it's too much work, or they just assume they're not able to do it because of something. Do you know? But they're not asking. They haven't actually asked the question or given them an opportunity to prove that they can. Because if you think about it, COVID puts us all on a level playing field, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were all at home, all working off Zoom. It showed that
Well, maybe you were, Paddy. I was in a bloody pharmacy all day, every day.
I was just in bed.
Dealing with the public, so. But I get it. Most people were at home on Zoom.
It means that we can change, we can adapt when we need to. You know, and for the first time ever, when I was on Zoom calls, you couldn't see my disability. So,
okay, so they were like, "Is he really disabled?"
Yeah, or am I just telling? I'm not. That's imagine that was the biggest. That was the biggest coax of all. I'm actually not disabled, guys.
Just pretend. I just have a lazy eye. That's all.
A lazy eye. That's it. That's the height of it. And I said to myself, "How am I going to make it big in this world?" I know. Get a pair of crutches.
Glitter purple crutches, by the way. You should see these crutches, guys. Actually, we might take a picture of them afterwards. They're gas.
They're very subtle. Wallflower vibes.
You could see you coming, certainly, and you wouldn't knock you over now in the dark. They are bright purple crutches with glitter on them.
I have to match the hair.
I can see that, yeah.
What do you think of the hair?
I like the hair. I think you should go darker.
Do you think?
Because it's kind of like a blue rinse granny.
No. Dead. A blue rinse granny.
It's a purple rinse granny colour. You need to go bright purple, like mental purple, like your crutches.
God, I feel great. You look like a purple rinse granny.
It's a light, subtle purple. It is a light, subtle purple. I'm liking the vibe. I'm wondering, would you go
backpedaling now? You are.
I'm wondering, would you go with a beard as well?
Oh God,
no. I do like it, but I think you could go brighter.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, why don't you own the flamboyancy and just go nuts? But if you do, I want part of whatever job you get next then.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to say about this topic of disability in the workplace before we move on?
I would just say that remember that everyone is human beings and everyone deserves a chance. And just because it may be different to what we're used to, or you might have to put a little bit of extra work in, doesn't mean that they are not going to be able to bring something to the workforce that is invaluable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And everyone deserves to go for their dreams.
100%.
So I would say give people a chance.
Yeah, okay.
And just be more aware. And on that I'll leave it now.
We'll stop the preaching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Preach done.
Okay. And Paddy, I always ask people 2 questions after every podcast. Did you get tipped off?
I did.
Have you done your research? I've heard of people Googling what is the meaning of life.
Yeah, I was like, God, that's a really heavy
deep,
question.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with first. What advice would you have for young people today?
I would say try be more present and go for what you want. You know, this is all we don't know what's happening next, you know, and if you want to do something, wouldn't you rather do it and fail than not do it at all? Like, 'cause at least you can sit there and be like, I try my best, you know? And always think that everything you see online isn't real life. It's a version that we put out of our best selves, whatever that may be. And try and stay in your own lane and stop looking at everyone else's life. Because, like, this is your life. Only you can decide what your life is going to be instead of looking at everyone else's. Because we all get caught up in that, don't we?
Yeah.
And I wish when I was younger I realised that quicker. You know? So I would say that. And have fucking fun. That's what I'd say as well.
And what is the meaning of life, Paddy?
This is a hard one. I was thinking in the taxi and I was like, what is the meaning of life? I think the meaning of life is different for everyone, you know. My meaning of life would be I want to find happiness, whether that be self-happiness or happiness with someone else. But I want to be happy with myself. I want to make a difference in the world. I want to put my stamp on the world, you know, and be proud of that. And that could be because of my mom and because I want to do something that means something, and I want to help people. So that's my meaning of life.
I think that's a lovely meaning of life.
Thank
Paddy,
you.
thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Laura.